There's definitely that instant gratification, and people jump into things thinking it's going to be so easy. Nothing's easy in this life. If it was, we'd all be successful and we'd all be like, the happy-go-lucky person. It's not. It's just, that's not the way it works.
Shout out. The Connects. Luis Guzman.
Welcome to another episode of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast, where we highlight the journey of entrepreneurs and business people alike to showcase that every light and dark moment creates a beautiful piece of art. This is episode 20. I am your host, Luis Guzman. This man sitting here next to me is an artist to a T, a genius at what he does, runs a great business, Main Street Donuts, with 2 locations. He is an alumni of the Culinary Institute of America. He is a baking creative. He is responsible for my personal favorite donuts, the only cannoli, the edible cookie dough, the s'mores donut, and the red velvet, just to name a few. And I am talking about none other than Joe Rizzuto. Welcome to the program, brother.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you, man. You're a busy man. A lot going on, right?
Yeah.
It's nuts, man. I appreciate you sitting down with us, taking some time and talking about your business, how you started, and the journey, which is the most important thing. Before we start, I told you off camera that, what resonated with me the most and why I wanted to interview you, besides the fact that you make delicious donuts, is that I called you on Thanksgiving Eve and I was in a hurry to get something I needed for, Thanksgiving Day. I wanted some good desserts. I wanted to try your donuts. And you said, I will call you back. I am swamped. And I said, we'll see. And 5 minutes later, you called me back. And that to me meant a lot, because service is gone in any industry right now. And for you to be at one of the busiest times of your season, and it's not just like a worker, or it's like the owner has called me back and took my order and it was ready when I came the next morning to pick it up. It spoke volumes of your leadership, your entrepreneurial spirit, and what business, especially this one, means to you. So that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to sit down and talk to you as well and pick your brain, I ask every guest the same question to start it off. Who is Joe Rizzuto?
Oh, gosh.
It's a layered question.
I'm just a regular guy, just trying to make it through day by day. We have dreams. You try to fulfill them. You don't always do that. For me, my most important thing to me is my family. I'm married. Me and my husband, we have a 15-year-old, just started high school. And for me, that's all of this is for them. We want to do better. I want to show my son he could do whatever he wants to do. Anything he wants to do, he can accomplish. Success is, it has different meanings for everybody. And for me, it's making people smile, and all the other things that come with it. I opened this business, this location in October. Quite frankly, I don't know what I was thinking, because it's really hard to run 2 businesses.
When did you open the first one, if you don't mind me asking? The Belmar
5 years ago.
5 years ago. Okay.
This past January.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, that's in Belmar. And it's a lot of work. It's 7 days a week. Up until a couple of weeks ago, I really haven't had a day off in months. Wow. Since October. And now we have the right staffing, so I'm able to take a little time off, because if you don't have that little time off that day,
you implode.
You just my creativity just goes down. And
that's interesting you say that, because as a creative myself, I think the decompression and the downtime is the elixir to the success we have in business. Mm-hmm. Without that downtime, I was in Puerto Rico last month, and I was with my wife on the beach, and I came up with another idea for this podcast, which I won't mention here. But that's the moments of real creativity that you need to not just push yourself, but also challenge yourself, right? Mm-hmm. And what are those moments like for you, that when you have that downtime to think about what's next?
That's when the creative juices get flowing for me. I was away too a couple of weeks ago, first time in a year, and it couldn't have come at a better time. And it took me about 3 days to decompress. And then all of a sudden, I tried not to think about the business too much, even though I was in contact.
Right.
But then I started thinking, oh, I want to do this. I want to do that. That's the point where when you open the floodgates, like they say, when you don't have any days off and you have no time to decompress, the gates close. And I look at that as the gates that hold my creativity and everything I do. So if they're closed, I can't do anything. Everything's at a standstill.
I think that's just Steve Jobs said that I have to be fluid. I can't just stay in one spot or be constricted to a schedule. Or I need to have that creative flow to think and to create ideas. And I think we all have that within us. And the other part of that is managing everything else that comes with that, right? So that's the question I ask you. Take me back 5 years ago when you first opened Belmar. What were the steps leading up to opening your first location, and what were the challenges you faced as opening your first business?
So I did open Belmar while I was actually working. I was in corporate America.
Okay. Hated corporate America? Hated it or not?
I loved it up until the very end. It was great. Being in food and beverage, and I was in food and beverage corporate. I worked for Citigroup.
Okay.
And I ran their high-end private dining and in-house events.
Nice.
And I was there for almost 20 years.
Wow.
And it was a great job. I mean, listen, if you're working in the restaurant business and you have weekends off and holidays off, and
consider yourself lucky.
Baker's hours.
Holy cow!
And the bonuses didn't help either.
That's extra, icing on top.
It was a great place until the end, and then it just started souring.
Gotcha.
In corporate America, the longer you're there, it's not necessarily a good thing.
Why is that?
Because you're making too much money. They could hire somebody younger or cheaper or
it's a target on your head.
I think they went through 4 people after me to find the right person.
Oh, wow.
It wasn't an easy job, but it came natural to me. Business comes natural to me, running businesses. It's the way my brain works.
Right.
So it's time to leave, and I was vacationing in the Outer Banks, which is where
OBX,
Duck Donuts comes from, Duck, North Carolina.
Gotcha.
And I waited online for an hour to get donuts, like everybody else does in the Outer Banks. And they had a pamphlet for franchise. And I was like, I didn't know if I wanted to leave Citigroup and go work for somebody else, or I really would love to do something on my own.
Correct.
I've always had that entrepreneurial, gusto. When I was 25, I was partnership in a dance club in the city.
Oh, nice.
So that was my first business.
Okay.
But even when I was young, we used to have these little yard sales, and we used to have like bazaars. I used to bring out the wheel from Life Game, and kids used to put a quarter down, and I tell you,
your mind was always going. Yeah,
my mind was always going. I was an entrepreneur at that age as well.
Was that something from your family, your mother, your father? Was that instilled in you, or was that naturally just in you?
I can't say it was. My family, great. My mother is my rock. Was my rock. She passed away.
I'm sorry.
But they didn't take chances. And my mom and my dad would always say, we just never took a chance. We could have done this, or we could have done that, or we could have bought this house in Brooklyn Heights when they were like giving them away, and we just didn't do it. And now they're worth millions of dollars. And they didn't take chances. I will say that my mom said sometimes you have to take a chance, but she always
laid it very thin.
Yeah, she wasn't one to take chances.
Gotcha.
And So yeah, I can't say that's the way they are, but I learned from them because I would always hear these stories on how I wanted to open up a business, or my dad wanted to open up a pizzeria at one point, or they wanted to do this and they just didn't. But what if they did?
What would have made that change in that lifespan? Yeah,
now I have another relative, my uncle Vito. He is an immigrant from Argentina. He has had an impact on me because I saw, he came here with nothing, and he worked for somebody for many years, and then opened up his own business. And
you said came from another country altogether.
Yeah,
got it.
And he's just very, very successful. He took chances. Sometimes they didn't work out. He fell. He got back up.
Never gave up.
To me, that's inspirational. And I always. He may not know this because I don't really think I've ever told him that, but
you should.
I've always looked at him as that inspiration. I live here. I was born here. I have the opportunity to do things. You just got to get up and do them.
Absolutely.
And so in any case, I got that brochure and I said, I wonder if I could do this. I was a pastry chef. I have a culinary background. It kind of goes into something I want to do. For me, I'm creative. I'm a businessman. How can I envelop that into one thing? And I looked into it. I did my homework for about a year. I did a lot of research. I contacted distributors, donut distributors. I found out a lot of information about that franchise, and it just didn't make sense to me. Absolutely didn't. The amount of money that you'd have to spend to open up the franchise, which didn't have a marquee name up here. I know there's a couple up here now, but still. And I had different ideas on how I wanted to make a donut. I don't want to just dip them in a glaze and present it like that.
Yeah, that's where your creativity, because again, no knock at them, but what attracted me so much about your business is how it doesn't feel franchisee. And what I mean by that is obviously the goal for any entrepreneur is to one day franchise, but my take on that is that when you franchise a business, you dumb down the ingredients, you dumb down the quality of the food that you're serving or pastries. When I ate one of your donuts, I was like, I don't feel like, ugh. But I felt, oh my God, it's tasting like the flavor, the taste, the texture. I was like, this is not franchisey. This feels homemade. Mm-hmm. And if I'm off base, let me know. Is that that was your kind of driving force, was to make a more like sell a donut that represents you, that represents your creativity, represents your ingredients.
Yeah.
And obviously work for yourself.
What's the name of my business?
Main Street Donuts.
So my brand is Main Street America. I like that. And the theme is a more homier feel, not only in the design of my stores, of my shops, but the design of my products. So my products, and I get this all the time from my customers, what inspires you to make this? One of my favorite donuts here is the Brooklyn Blackout. The Brooklyn Blackout, most people don't know what a blackout cake is. It was derived from Brooklyn, where I grew up, and almost every bakery sells a version of it.
A Brooklyn Blackout, a blackout cake.
And so a lot of my donuts are derived from cakes or pies or something of that matter. And that's how I developed the blackout. And when you have the blackout donut, it feels like a slice of that blackout cake. It's
delicious. Yeah,
one of my favorite cakes growing up.
Man, so it kind of reads in on a younger, a nostalgic feeling, right? Of you being in Brooklyn and you trying this, the blackout cake. Is that the same for every other flavor you have here? Like, is it all come back to a nostalgic place for you? Every donut you make?
Yeah, one way or another it does, I think. Not all of them. Obviously, some donuts are, listen, I didn't create the Sweet Pig, maple donut with a donut with maple glaze and bacon on it. I didn't create that. Those are things that my customers love. Those are products that my customers love, and I deliver. But there's the other things that I try to differentiate myself from my competitors. A lot of my competitors just throw things on top of a donut. To me, and I'm not putting them down. People love them, and that's great. I never put them down. I think my competitors make a great product. My product is just different. It's got to make sense to me. It's got to flow. It's got to, it's got to reach all those points.
Correct.
Listen, donuts used to be just what? For breakfast, right?
Yeah.
And I get a lot of, I'm very busy for breakfast. I get, people order the lighter donuts for breakfast. But my donuts are also good for dessert. So
delicious entree
I have
dessert.
people coming at the end of the day, or we're having a dinner party and we want dessert. I mean, they get the heavier donuts like the Brooklyn Blackout or the Holy Cannoli. Yeah. And it just, Samoa, I didn't create that. That was, I did create it, but I based that off of the Girl Scout cookie.
Yes.
And I took it off the menu. I put things on temporarily and then I take them off, and I didn't get a good result from my customers. They wanted it back on. I had to put it back on.
Well, it's good you say that. It's a good segue to my next question, because I wanted to know, you say you're in our artisanal donut shop, right? An artisan does food, cheese, wine, and it's a temporary amount, limited quantities. So to my point, you already answered, do you bring some back if the customers want it? But what is the other side of that? Like how much time do you take inventing new recipes, new donuts, and putting those on the menu? Like, is that like 5 a year, 10 a year?
No. We try to do it every other week, if not every week. We try to have something new. And then we have the holidays in between. So we had all these holiday creations.
Themes.
We just passed St. Patrick's Day. My big holiday is tomorrow, St. Joseph's Day.
There you go.
And we do the St. Joseph. That's
awesome, man.
I grew up with the St. Joseph pastry. I created the same thing using a cruller donut, which has the same consistency as the Sfingi, which is the St. Joseph pastry.
Okay.
And my customers love it. They absolutely love it. It's
that fusion that you have of putting things together in a way where the customers embrace it. You single-handedly turn your donuts, which is just a pleasure for eating, to a talking piece, a conversational piece. Like you go places. Oh, did you try these? Oh my God. That's how I found out about you. I was eating down the street.
Our biggest advertisement is word of mouth.
Word of mouth, yeah.
And, we'll be coming up with a couple of, right now we're phasing out our winter donuts and we're going into spring. And then Easter's coming up as well. So we'll have our Easter donuts and products there. And then when we get into summer's really fun.
4th of July, Memorial Day weekend.
Yeah, I love the summer donuts. We do a margarita donut.
Get out.
Now, and this is another
I didn't even know that.
This is another thing that differentiates me from my competitors. I do a lot of homemade stuff. All my buttercreams are homemade. I do a Nutella, which is on the menu right now. It's all homemade. You said you love the cookie dough. It's all homemade.
God, man, yes.
It's hard to do that. It takes a lot of time.
And more money, right?
And I understand why my competitors don't do it, because it's just, and then you have multiple shops, so you want to make sure that there's consistency between the two shops.
Profit and loss, too. And I get it.
But the margarita donut is basically I get tequila. I burn out the alcohol and I make a glaze from the tequila.
Oh, that is awesome.
Now I add in lime juice, lime zest, powdered sugar. We top the donut, and then we put sea salt on it, because you have to have salt with your margarita.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
tequila's my favorite.
A key lime center, and that is a huge donut. It is a summer donut, but we premiere it
Cinco de Mayo. Nice.
Yeah.
That's perfect marketing.
We also have
branding.
a churro donut that's going to be coming down the pike soon. Yeah.
Oh. So you get me excited now. I'm forgetting we're interviewing you. I'm thinking about the donuts.
Right now, just this past week, we premiered the carrot cake donut, which is another seasonal. That'll go through
People
Easter.
love carrot cake. Yeah.
The actual donut is a carrot cake mix.
Nice.
And then we top it with a cream cheese topping. You can't get any better than that.
See, I just love how, just hearing you talk right now about these donuts, I can see the passion on it. Like, you are excited, and that's what I think is missing in service.
It's missing. Listen,
what's your take on that?
I had this conversation with a customer yesterday. somebody who came in, they know my son. My son is 15 years old. He's a great kid, athlete, and he gave up all sports to perform. He loves performing, acting.
Nice. Okay.
And he just got the male lead in the musical. They're doing Sister
Good for
Act,
him.
which we have
Nice.
the posters over there.
There you go. Yeah, we'll put that in the B-roll. That's awesome, man.
And he has such passion at 15 years old for what he wants to do. I mean, he's in school from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9:30 at night. And he's there on all day Saturday rehearsing.
Practicing.
And he loves it. It's in his blood. Wow. He has the passion. I think most of us who have a 9-to-5 job, I don't. I have a 5-to-5 job. Go to work and just basically just to support your family, bring home a paycheck, but you're not happy. You don't have a passion for what you're doing. Yeah. And I always mentor a lot of kids. My customers come in, they're like, my son, my daughter wants to go to culinary school. They're thinking about the CIA. I can actually write a letter and you can get an alumni scholarship.
Holy cow.
Automatically by me writing a letter, as long as you attend the school.
Right.
I've only written a few of them because most of the kids I've talked to did not end up going to culinary school, because I told them you have to have the passion for what you do. It's a very hard job.
Yeah.
It starts off very low pay, long hours, holidays. It's not what you think. And I think the Food Network has just a lot of kids think they're going to become a Food
overnight
Network
success.
chef. And
it doesn't work like that.
Yeah. Just like I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be an actor when I was young. And this didn't spread to my son. I've never told my son this. But I always wanted to be an actor. But it's not for everybody. I wasn't meant to be an actor.
But it's so surreal to me. You're telling me that your son has that, number one, the passion to be an actor, but he has the hard work and grit attitude that we were raised on. Mm-hmm. Versus now, everything is instant gratification. Yeah. You said that's instilled in him. I mean, you got to feel proud for that he doesn't need to be told. He already knows. Do you think that in business today, a lot of people are hooked on the instant gratification? Mm-hmm. I'm going to start a fence business. I'm going to start a donut business. And then 6 months later, they're out of business. Mm-hmm. Is it because of they think it's easy because everybody else is doing it? Like, do you think the world today is fooling people with social media because they make it look so easy, but they don't show you the hard work behind the curtain? Mm-hmm. What's your take on that? Is that?
Oh yeah, there's definitely that instant gratification, and people jump into things thinking it's going to be so easy. Nothing's easy in this life. If it was, we'd all be successful and we'd all be like, the happy-go-lucky person. It's not. It's just that's not the way it works. Having two businesses here, you have your ups and your downs. We're now leaving the slow season. It's tough. Season, yeah. It's tougher in Belmar, where it's a beach town.
Yes, absolutely.
But we try to, I come up with other things. I have corporate accounts. We do that, so that keeps us busy, especially during the downtime. But the thing is, nothing is easy, and you always have to work. Listen, sometimes you could play that lottery and you could win it, but
99% of the time, it's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen.
And a recurring theme with my podcast is resourcefulness, which you just hit on. Mm-hmm. If you're not resourceful in business, let alone in life, you're not going to make it. Mm-hmm. And to your point, hey, slower season, we got corporate accounts. We do donut bouquets. We do themed donut cakes, pull-apart cakes with donuts. That's resourcefulness. And I feel like this is an entrepreneurial spirit thing that we all have, is that an entrepreneur looks at something and says, you know what, not good enough. How can it be better? And I think that is what's lacking in a lot of people that want to do that. It's why I birthed this podcast, because I want people to know, let's pull back the curtain and show you, yes, Joe is successful, but Joe is a human being. Joe has a family. Joe has responsibilities, and he still doesn't give up. Mm-hmm. And I think that's the key takeaway that younger people have to hear today. Yeah, are more stories like yours.
And I'm only as successful as my last donut sold. I mean, you have to keep up that consistency. You have to keep up. My staff here,
great staff.
They do a great job.
Great job, man.
But sometimes I'm like, I don't like that. We have to redo that. It's not, would you serve that?
It's not personal.
You know what I mean? I want to make sure we're consistent, and there's a certain quality that I want to deliver and that I have to deliver. You know, the most important thing, and I want to go back to your opening comments about how I called you back on Thanksgiving. The most important thing, at least in this type of business and retail, is customer service.
100%.
You know, everybody knows me. You know, here I'm newer, but still they know me.
Right.
In Belmar, everybody knows me. And they know me for my customer service. I'm out there, I talk to everybody. I don't remember names as well as I remember faces and the stories you told me. So a good example was I had this couple that came in Belmar they were from Asbury, and they loved my donuts. And there was another donut shop in Asbury that they could have gone to. In fact, they lived around the corner from me. But they loved my donuts. So they came 3 miles, 15 minutes away, whatever, in the summer, maybe longer, to buy my donuts. And when I looked at their face, I was like, hey, how are you? I says, you had trouble with your neighbors, didn't you?
Wow.
And you're a cop. And they go, we haven't been in here for 1.5 years. We were traveling or whatever.
Wow.
She goes, and you remember all that? I said, yeah. I said, now you also had a son. He was in college. Yeah, he graduated. They're like, oh my God. Well, they were back every week. You know, it's just connecting with your customers, giving that customer service. Make sure you call right away. I think I told you earlier, I had somebody who emailed me on a Saturday night requesting whatever they were asking. And I got back to them. I got the email. I got back to them right away. And the reply was, you're the third donut shop I called.
Yeah, you said that.
And the others I emailed earlier in the week, and I still haven't gotten a response. No matter what, you have my business now. So
similar to my story with you.
Yeah.
The reason you called me back, the point that you called me back and said, look, he's got a customer for life. And I think, you know, it's funny because I was listening to this Oprah Winfrey interview. She said great service is what leads to excellence. And that stuck out to me because she referenced Taco Bell. She said, you know, it's just Taco Bell, but if they give you extra sauce and extra napkins in your bag, you're going to remember that. And you're going to want to come back and see that person that gave you the extra sauce and the extra napkins. And it's the same thing in this aspect. It's like you remembering that story of them. Oh, you're a cop. Oh, it's not even about take the donuts out of it. It's the fact that you connected on a human level. That is, I think, the antidote to great business. Yeah, is connecting on a human level.
I just wish I could remember names.
That's my downfall too.
I am the worst. And then here, seeing so many people, sometimes somebody comes in and I'm like, I know you. Like, you've been here before. No, I've never been here before. I was like, okay. And he goes, but I've seen you in ShopRite. I was like, okay, that's
it. So, Joe, you mentioned, again, like the customer that saw you at ShopRite, right? You have essentially marked your DNA genetically into the community. And I wanted to talk about, that takes me to my next point, the donut chase that you did, the 5K. How did that come about? And what were the steps leading up to that? How did that come to fruition?
Well, I mean, I do a lot for the community, Belmar here. And I think that's a responsibility of every business, as much as you can.
100%.
I do a lot for the schools, all around this town, all the neighboring towns. And I came up with an idea of doing a 5K race. I said, this would be really fun if we can do a race where you get a donut at the end of the...
it's a unique dichotomy, right?
The finish line, yeah. So I was literally talking about this, and I think a few days later I get a call from this woman who runs races, who's a good friend of mine now, Christine, and she says, hi, I do races, and would you be interested in sponsoring it? we would call it the donut chase, and I was like, you got to be kidding
That's
me.
so like,
I'm like,
I love it.
Yeah, but
I'm in.
I can't talk right now. I'm really busy, so I'm gonna have to call you back. And I did.
And you did.
And I says, we did the first year. I didn't know what we were doing, and the second year, I says, I want to be really more in control of this. My mom had just passed away from cancer, and she went to Sloan Kettering, and I wanted the benefactor to be Sloan Kettering Monmouth.
That's beautiful.
And that's what we do out of on the shore. We actually do it in Wall Township.
Okay.
Every year. And now we're going to be doing one here as well.
Oh, you're going to do one in Matawan?
Yes.
I live nearby. I'm going to have to join up for this one, man.
Yeah. We're still... Hopefully, by the time this airs, we'll have it.
Nice.
I've been talking to the mayors of both Aberdeen and Matawan, and we're trying to figure out the logistics.
Nice.
But it's going to be called the Main Street Donut Shark Race.
Oh, okay. I like
given
it.
the history with the shark attacks here in Matawan.
I didn't even know about that. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
You didn't know about that?
No, I didn't.
That's where
I'm
Jaws
a newbie.
came
I'm a
from.
newbie here.
That
I thought it was
inspired-
Cape May. Am I off? I mean, I know they
think that
filmed
was
it
in the movie.
They filmed it in Cape May.
But
Sorry. It was here.
In the early 1900s, there was a bunch of shark attacks here on the Jersey Shore, and right here in Matawan and Lake.
Get out!
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
and so in any case, we gave it a little theme. One of my donuts here, I have a signature donut here. It's called the Shark Donut, and that's basically for
the homage to Matawan. That is so cool. See, again, going back to, it's not just about running a business, but it's about the heart and soul you put into it. And it speaks volumes. Because look, even me, like, I didn't even know the significance that, donut with the sharks.
Yeah.
Now I appreciate it even more.
Now you understand why it's there.
I mean, you're made for this, man.
Yeah.
This is what you're meant to do. I think this is your calling. You're doing great so far. And, I'm excited to see, like, what's next in your chapter with Main Street Donuts, man, because I'm all in. I mean, after hearing your story and hearing the inspiration behind it, which takes me to another question. With the business, I want you to highlight what's the most difficult piece of dealing with the business and what's the most rewarding piece?
That's a good question. The difficult thing, it's running two places. I want to be at both places at the same time, and I have to be honest. Since I've opened this, I've ignored Belmar, and now that I have again the staffing that I need, I'm spending more time there. So that's the hard part. The hard part is how to navigate the two, and it's 35 minutes away. It's not around the corner.
Yeah.
It's just the good part is the success and watching people smile. I love that. The kids come in here. I'm a big practical joker. So I have kids come in on a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning. They come in with their pajamas. They actually come in with their pajamas with their parents.
Yeah.
And their tongues are wagging, and I'm not kidding. They're like, they're drooling. And when I see that, I go to them. I said, we're all out of donuts today, but we have bagels. And the kids go, the tongue goes in, and the kid goes,
seriously?
And I said, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. I'm joking. I love that. Listen, all right. So,
what's the biggest? Go ahead. I was going to ask you a question.
I had somebody come in on their wedding day for donuts.
Wow.
They came to pick up a wedding donut wall.
Okay.
And 300 donuts. And I've been talking to them for a while. Great couple. Still talk to them today. Right. They came in they came in together that morning. And when I saw them come through, I said, I bet you can't wait for the big day tomorrow. And they were like, tomorrow? It's today. And I was like, got you. And they're like, oh my God. So I do that all the time.
I'm the same way, believe it or not, man. My wife smacks the crap out of my shoulder sometimes. I go a little bit too far.
Yeah.
And then, she's like, I'm just joking. Why are you playing like that? I do it so much. Trust me. I
hope I don't piss off my customers, but I think they've grown to love that. I mean, that's just part of my personality. I'm a big practical joker.
But that's my thing. It's like again, I'm an artist, not a salesman. You're selling donuts, but you're also selling yourself and your brand and who you are as a person. Mm-hmm. You got to take me all. You can't just take a little, you got to accept every facet. And I think that is the true definition of an artist, is when you're able to own what you have, what you do, and people love it for what it is.
Yeah.
That's it. And if they don't, oh well, you know, and I commend you for running a tight ship, opening 2 locations, being a great father, seeing your son, you know, run up through the ranks and working all these hours and studying to be an actor. I mean, there's a lot of blessings here, man. So all those blessings is shown through your business. And I feel like that is going to be the steam that will keep you growing in the future, because you are in one way or another making a change. And I see it, every one of your clients see it, and the other future eyes that haven't seen it yet, oh man, just wait. Because, I mean, you just said the donut wall. God, when I saw that donut wall, I told my wife, the next party we throw, we got to get a donut wall. It's just epic. Like being resourceful, thinking about things outside the box. I never seen a donut wall till I went to your website. So again, all those creations you're doing with the creative mind you have, I can't wait to see the next 5 years what's going to happen. You know, so it's amazing, Joe. And my last set of questions, I talked to you about this off air, the mastermind questions, right? It's more to have the audience learn a little bit more personal, you know, about you. So I'm gonna ask you a couple questions, no pressure. All right. Okay. What's the first book? What's the book you read that inspired you the most?
You said you weren't going to ask that question.
I just tease. I don't
have enough time to read anymore.
You're a historian. You like history.
Yeah.
So we can just blanket that. I'm actually
reading a couple of books about this town. It was it's a local author who compiled all these photographs and the history behind the photographs of the Raritan Bay. Okay. And, you know, this town, the surrounding towns. So that's what I'm reading right now. Unfortunately, I'm exhausted when I get out of here. That was the one thing good about working in corporate, is when I was commuting, I read. You read, right? You know, a couple of books a month. I loved it. But I'm a history buff. I love history.
Love it, man. You probably answered this already, I think, in the beginning with your uncle. What person in your life has brought you the most influence?
My mom. My mom was always, you know, she was a hard worker. She was a great person. You know, she was just a wonderful, wonderful person. She forgave. She taught me to forgive. She worked hard, so that was always instilled in me. You know, and I have to thank my husband as well. I could not do this without him. And it was not easy opening up a second shop. And I doubted myself up until the very end. And I'm like, we're opening in 2 weeks. Like, how am I going to do this? And he's like, are you kidding me? He goes, you got this. And
the support.
So, yeah, I've had this tremendous support from him, and I couldn't have done it without him. I would have went off the deep end already. You know,
I understand.
And when I come, you know, home and I doubt things or I do this, there's just always that, you know, that push to, you can do it. Your
support system. Yeah. And it's funny because I always say this with my wife too, is like, she is stronger where I lack in. So just like you said, I don't know if I can do this. And she's like, babe, you can do this. This is, you're great at what you do with this. Like and it just gives you that sense of, yeah, what am I doing? I could do this. You know what I mean? And I think that support system is important at home, and as well as what you got from your mother, you know? Yeah. So it's a beautiful mix. You know what I mean? Are there any practical tips you could share that has helped your process in business and life combined?
Practical? I think it goes back to what we were saying before about passion. You know, don't do something just for a paycheck. I mean, you can if you want to, and many people do, but are they happy? But if you want to do something, make sure you have the passion for it. You know, in this country where you have to go to college. I don't think you really have to go to college for most things. Yeah. Unfortunately, most people won't hire if you don't have a college degree, which doesn't make any sense to me.
They got to change that rule, I think.
Yeah. You know, you go to college, and most of these jobs really don't even relate to anything you do in college, except for maybe some business classes, finance, or whatever.
Correct.
I was passed over for a promotion at Citi because I didn't have my bachelor's, and
you were probably more intelligent than the person they gave it to. But I was
more, and they hired somebody and it didn't work, and then it came up again, and I was like, but why? And they gave it to me, and you know what I did? I excelled. It goes to show you that, you know, because there's a button they have to press in the computer to savor that component where you have your bachelor's or you have to have so many years experience, which I think is the best thing, work-life experience.
Correct.
But you don't need a college degree for everything.
I agree.
And that's so pushed upon us. And I mean, I have a college degree, but let's face it, it doesn't matter what you do, you have to have passion.
100%, man. That's like it intertwines everything together when you have the passion. 100%. What keeps you driven in life?
My family. Yeah.
Gotcha.
That's what I live for. I even though I have a 15-year-old and he's going to kill me, he's not very pleasant right now.
Right.
He's a good kid. He really is a good kid. I love him.
It's waves. They're happy,
he was
they're
my
sad.
best friend from when he was born, and now he really wants to have nothing to do with me, except when he wants that.
I know. It's about that time. About 15, 16, they just
but it's
start.
my family. I can't wait to leave here and go home and be with my family. Like today, we're going to go to the movies.
Shazam.
That's a thing
No, not Shazam.
We've done that since my son is, I think, 2 or 3 years old. We've always gone to the movies. It kind of lapsed after COVID, but we get back into it, and that's a thing the three of us do all the time.
It's the connective glue, right? The family moment, the movies.
And I hear this all the time from my son's friends, parents, and relatives of mine. Like, you guys always go to the movies. Like, we just never did that. We never. And I went to the movies growing up, but we really couldn't afford it when I was younger, and it was you went to see movies here and there. We try to go to the movies a couple times a month at least. We used to go every week.
Yeah, no, I'm in the same boat with you. I love movies.
Yeah.
Me, my wife, the kid, like we just love it.
We have a big TV in our house, but there's nothing like
a movie theater.
Yeah.
Especially with a good movie.
Yeah.
That's a big thing. Have you ever had any vices, and how did you overcome them?
No, I'm perfect. Oh, boy. I have. I mean, oh God, I don't know if I should be saying this, but I dealt with, after my mom died, I had depression.
Oh,
very badly. I had to, navigate that. And that was, it affected my business. The donut shop in Belmar, I think. And it was something that I just didn't realize, even though I think my husband told me and friends told me, and that's something that I had to just kind of get on track with. And I've been fine, ever since. But
wow.
that's and you have to take care of yourself. That's the most important thing. You could do all of this. You could have everything you want to do. But if you're not good up here, it's not good. And losing a parent was
man, you can't replace.
It was absolutely traumatic for me.
The pain never leaves.
Was my rock, and she was not there anymore. And it's like nobody prepares you for that.
No, there's no manual to say how to handle when your mother or your father, anyone for that matter, that's a loved one, goes away.
Yeah.
So how do you navigate that, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, is there anything you could share with the audience that helped you through that process to get you back to I'm okay?
It's talking about it. I didn't even know I was, I just knew that I was doing things that I shouldn't be doing, and I was just not living a healthy life. And what I mean by that is dealing with this issue.
It's all unconscious stuff that's in there, and you gotta get it out.
Once I dealt with it, I talked about it. It got better. Yeah, got a lot better.
I love it, man. I love it.
Yeah.
What does the next level of success in your life look like?
I'm too old to run for president. Actually, I'm not. But no, I would never.
Still be an actor.
Politics.
You can still be an actor, man.
We'll see if my son becomes famous.
Oh, you're in.
Maybe he
You're
can get
in.
me on his show or whatever he's in. I would love that.
No, you give me an actor vibe. Seriously, like after you said that, seriously, this guy could be an actor.
I told you better take us to the Academy Awards. Because we were watching it last week. I was like, I want to go down the red or champagne carpet, whatever they're doing that year.
Man.
Well, I would love to franchise. I've learned to navigate the two shops and how to when we do, I have a new product. I know how to unveil it in the next shop without being there. I have step-by-step instructions on how to do that, and we've used that now since I've been open here. I would love to franchise. I don't think I could open up another shop myself because this just turned me gray here.
It's a racket. Yeah, I get it.
It's a lot of responsibility, but I would love for somebody else to share in what I'm doing and have me guide them, as a franchisee or something. There's nothing better when people come in and they have a smile on their face and they're just, happy. And that's what sweet confections do. It makes
you happy, man. It's an endorphin release.
It's like ice cream. Come on, you go to an ice cream shop, you're not. No
one leaves.
You're not sad.
No one leaves a place like this sad.
Yeah.
So it's like you're selling happiness.
Yeah.
You can't lose. You just got to do the hard work.
Exactly.
That's all it is, man.
Yeah.
Last question here, and I know this is a doozy for you. What's the last thing you brought that changed your life?
The last thing I bought that changed my life. I don't know. That's a good question. I have everything I need. I don't live in excess or anything like that. I don't know.
It's okay. It's okay to not know too.
House, I don't
there you
know.
go. A house. Yeah. Maybe this
moving
location
to New Jersey changed my life. So we could say that. Coming from Brooklyn, I grew up in Brooklyn. I lived in the city for many years, and then moved back to Brooklyn. That's when I met my husband, and it's going to be 24 years this summer.
Wow.
And we adopted our son, and we were living in Staten Island, and I really didn't want to raise him there. Didn't feel.
I gotcha.
And my husband's family lives out here, and we used to come out here a lot, and I liked it. The proximity to the city wasn't that bad for me to travel, and I was like, I really want my son to grow up in the suburbs. And so we bought a house out here, and, the rest is history.
I love that, man.
I guess, in a sense, my home.
There you go. Great answer. Home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
Right? Wow, Joe. Again, from the time I spoke to you on Thanksgiving Eve to now, just this last hour spent with you, man, I've learned so much more about not just your business, your character, who you are as a person. And it makes me feel more proud that I support your business and that you're on my podcast. So I definitely want to, appreciate you for doing this. And, I really do appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. And, we're pretty wrapped up here, man. But I always let every guest know at the end, feel free to shout out where they can find you, your social media, your business locations. Where can they find Main Street Donuts?
Okay. Physically, you can find us in Belmar and Matawan, New Jersey, on Main Street. Yep. Both on Main Street. Our social media are all the same. It's Main, MAINSTDONUTS.com or Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. You'll find us all over the place.
Awesome. One of the best donuts you will ever have, hands down, by one of the best business owners I have ever interviewed on this platform. Absolutely. Joe, thank you so much again, man. I appreciate your time. Yes. And guys, that is a wrap on episode 20 of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. If this podcast has inspired or moved you to follow your dreams or inspirations, please subscribe to our Apple, Spotify, and YouTube platforms by typing in Luis Guzman, I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, and clicking that subscribe button. Please make sure to follow my Instagram handle at Luis Guzman 2444 for further content and updates. I am thankful for every listener, and I pray you have a blessed one, not a stressed one. Peace.
Shout out, the Connects. Luis Guzman. Don't ever go, never leave my side. Passion's all I have, courage is my drive. And if I lost you, I would lose it altogether. I wouldn't have composure to get it back to